What's going on, everyone? It's Camille, Aiko. I hope that you are living the life that you love spiritually, mentally, physically, and financially. It is Friday night, so we are going to go ahead and get our chapter 12 in of the book that we are discussing. So if this is your first time joining me, we are reading The 10X Rule by Grant Cardone. And so again, we are on chapter 12, which is Obsession Isn't a Disease, It is a Gift. Hey, what's going on, Mary? Good evening, everybody. So as you're coming in, if you decide that you are going to stay on and interact with what, thank you, Mary, go ahead and drop those ones. And if you are catching this on replay, make sure you drop a 2. Hey, Jessica, I'm good. How are you? And make sure you share this video if you want to be a part of the drawing for the cash prizes, the gift cards, and the health and wellness products. So again, drop a 1 if you're catching this live. You're going to stay on. You're going to interact. Drop a 2 if you're catching this on replay. And then make sure you share the video. So good evening, good evening, good evening, everybody. One more time before we do get started in the discussion, we are reading the book, The 10X Rule by Grant Cardone, and we are on chapter 12. And the title of chapter 12 is Obsession Isn't a Disease, It's a Gift. And we are going to dive into that topic because, hey, what's going on, Wilbur? Oftentimes when we hear the word obsessed, we go to a negative place in our minds. And so again, Grant is back challenging our thought process, challenging what it is that we have been taught, to say, hey, think about this a little bit differently if you really want to achieve your dreams and your goals. And then not only that, but be in a place where you are protected when the unexpected happens, when the challenges are coming. How are we all today? I'm good. I got to tell you guys a story, which I'll kind of work it in, about what happened to me last night. I'm okay. I was in the hospital. Just got home this morning. Still not feeling well. Girl, we got to talk about what you're doing to take care of your body, Jessica. Definitely be praying for you. Hey, what's up? I am at home, cuz. Yeah, definitely praying for you, Jessica. I'm glad that you are at home, but take it easy and get well. Okay. So the 10X rule, if you don't know what that is, first of all, the 10X rule is being able to apply 10 times more effort and 10 times more thought into whatever it is that you want to achieve. So whether it's spiritually, mentally, physically, financially, dealing with your family, dealing with your business, right? So applying 10 times more thought, 10 times more effort, and setting 10 times the goal. So if your goal is to make $10,000, set it for $100,000 and not going beneath, because we know that when we move our target, when we lower our target, then that means then chances are we're not going to hit it. And so therefore we're going to be at a lesser place than what we desire. But when you increase the goal beyond what you want, if you miss, then at least you will still land in a place that you want to be. Okay. And so you can even think about some of your goals now. There are some people who've been setting weight loss goals for years and they still haven't hit that weight loss goal. So I've seen people come in and they've set a weight loss goal and they've knocked it out. Why? Because they stayed consistent. They went for the big goal. They were like, we're going to do this. They were persistent. They were obsessive about getting it done. And so guess what? They got it done. And then there's those other people who come in, they play around with their goals and they're like, well, I think, and I'm gonna, and I'll start here. And by the time they've thought and they've done all of this thought, right? They've done all of these different things. They've been talked out of it. It's not going to work. And they have a whole bunch of excuses as to why they haven't gotten started. So, okay. So, as we are just going through this, just remember that that's what this is all about. Setting 10X goals, thinking more and putting more effort into it all. I'm gonna let y'all work that out. Okay, in the comments. So obsessed, what is the definition of obsessed? Obsessed, the domination of one's thoughts or feelings by a persistent idea, image, or desire. And so we've talked about already just a little bit that most of us, when we think of obsession, we're like, oh God, like she's obsessed with so-and-so. And then it's like, and there was even a movie out. Wasn't there a movie out that was like Obsession? And it depicted the obsession in a very crazy, unhealthy way. But every time, for the most part, when you hear the word obsession, like that's where our minds go to, like something crazy, something unhealthy. And that's not the way that we need to view this word when it comes to going after our success. Okay? So when we think about obsessed, Grant is challenging us to think about obsessed in this way, that this is how we should approach our success. Yeah, it was real crazy. I wasn't a fan of the movie, but I remember the concept of it. I thought it was very poor acting. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. So to dominate your sector, your goal, your dream, ambition, you must first dominate your every interest, thought, and consideration. You have to dominate it. Like you have to be very present about what is going on. Okay. And so here's a kind of sidebar and how I'm going to work my little story in from last night of what happened to me after our live, is that, you know, when you're thinking about that, you have to be obsessed about a goal or idea and keeping that in the forefront of your mind. I just went a little blurry, so hopefully I come back unblurry here in a second. Let's see, did I move let me move the camera. Okay. So just keeping it in the forefront of our mind. So we have two sides to the mind, right? Well, like three. But anyway, our conscious mind and our subconscious mind. Am I still blurry? You guys let me know. Hey, Eric. And most of us, we function, in majority of time, we function out of our subconscious mind. And out of our conscious mind, that is what goes by the wayside. So what do I mean by that? So let's take, for an example, you go to a store and you are specifically looking for something, and the salesperson comes to you. It is blurry. Okay, let me see. Let's see. Let's see if I can get this straight before we go on. I don't know why it just went blurry on me. I don't know. I can do cat. Does a cat help? Or does that distract you? I don't know how to not make it blurry. Anyone know how to not make it blurry? Is that any better? Put hand over camera. Okay, is that better? I think that's better, right? Did you like the cat, Jessica? All right. Hey, cuz, no, I am, we're just doing the book discussion on the 10X rule. And so I'm just, adds more blurry. Okay. So are we good now? Okay. We're good. Cool. Perfect. Thank you, Wilbert, for that suggestion. Okay. Great. And hey, Bradford. Okay. So keeping our mind focused on our goal. My goal, but in functioning in our conscious mind. All right. So my goal last night, or let's back up even further than that, because I was talking about the store, right? So you go to the store, you know you need help, you know you're looking for something specific, and the sales clerk comes over to you, and the sales clerk says to you, do you need help? And most times out of our subconscious mind, what will we say? No, that's okay. I'm good. No, I don't need any help. But you know you need help, or you know that it would be easier if you just asked the sales clerk for help to get done whatever it is that you were trying to get done, right? But because out of our subconscious mind, like we're always functioning in that place that we're not consciously thinking of, okay, well, maybe I should. And, you know, a few moments later, you're like, oh, well, let me ask you a question, when you could have asked the question when the sales clerk was first there. Or think about driving down the highway. Excuse me. You're driving down the highway. How many of you really remember what's going on, or what was happening at the first 3 exits that you passed before you got to your destination. Like we're just in cruise control, right? There's just certain things that we just don't even think about. We're just going, or we're tired, so our mind is blurry, and things are just happening, but we're not really functioning in our conscious mind. We're functioning in our subconscious mind. It's just like clockwork. It's just like we're automatically doing things. And then when we begin to do that, this is where most of it, our lives, where we function at. We are in the unconscious mind, okay? And the conscious mind is like a little P, where we really function at. So last night, right, my thought was, I'm going to get home because I'm tired. And in the midst of just being in automatic mode, I forgot that I had locked the door so that I would be protected where I was. But I knew that if I went out and didn't turn the little knob on the door, that when the door closed, it would be locked. But in my rush and in my automatic functions, I completely forgot to unlock the door, even though I knew that I should, right? So I'm functioning in my subconscious mind, and my conscious mind of knowing what I needed to do, everything has been put on pause. So as we're going, I'm going and I'm putting up things and make sure everything's cleaned up and the lights are out. I come back to the office, and guess what's happened? The door is locked. And guess what's in there? My keys, my phone, my computer, my coats. Mind you, I'm in the Midwest. It's cold, okay? So in the process of functioning in my subconscious mind and not really being in tune with what's going on and really truly being focused and really putting in effort and thought, I have now wasted my entire night, the time that I could be asleep. When I got on that live yesterday, I was telling y'all, like, look, I'm so tired, right? I got off, I still couldn't go to sleep. You know why? Because then I had to figure out how I was going to make contact with someone so that I could get my belongings out of this locked room. And I had no phone. I had no way to communicate with anybody. And it was nobody's fault but mine, except for, and the reason why is because I was functioning out of my subconscious mind. I was just on autopilot. Like none of this stuff had to happen had I just thought a little bit harder about what I was actually doing. Okay. And so what happens is I go around and I'm finding different coats that I can put on to make sure I'm layered up well enough for this walk that I'm going to have to take at midnight in the cold. All right. So what is my point? My point is that because I wasn't really focused, I had a goal, and my goal was to get home. But because I really wasn't focused in my conscious mind and I was operating in my subconscious mind, and I wasn't putting in all of the effort that I needed and all of the thought that I needed to accomplish my goal, I ended up having to overcome a bunch of obstacles that I didn't need to overcome, and time that was wasted that could have been well used had I been doing what I needed to be doing from the beginning. Okay. And so this is what we have to remember in the 10X rule, is that we can be doing actions. We're always moving. Things are always happening. But if you aren't doing the right actions, you are going to end up wasting your time. It is your time and your effort and your thoughts are going to be so absorbed into things that are not helping you get to your goal. Used sleeping. Right. So even getting enough rest and making sure that that is in the equation of making sure that you can function properly. Right. Because, and how many of us are always tired? We're just always on the go. We don't get enough rest. We're not thinking properly. We're getting sick, right? We're making silly mistakes that don't need to be made if we would just do things the right way the very first time. And so this is the 10X rule. This is being prepared for those moments. So now, of course, as I'm going through this, okay, crap, I don't have my keys, my coat, my phone, a computer, or anything where I can make contact with the outside world. How can I better prepare myself if this were to happen again, right? So this now is helping me to even implement the 10X rule more, because let me tell you, I thought, okay, well, there is a church member who lives relatively close. I'll just walk over there. They'll wake up. They're going to help me. We're going to be good to go. I'm going to be out of this cold. I had on a little kid coat. I had on a white hoodie. I found someone's thin, like black trench coat, threw that on. I had on a towel for a scarf. I had on somebody's random headband that I found. Like I just had on a bunch of stuff. Like when we're not focused and where we're not putting in the effort and the thought that we need to, we end up putting on layers and baggage of stuff that it just is not necessary or does not help us to get to where we need to get, right? It's time to learn. It is time to learn smoke signals, because let me tell you, I was like, there's a smart TV and maybe I can get on that smart TV and somehow communicate with someone, but you got to know how to work the smart TV properly in order to use the smart TV to send a signal, right? So all of these things, like this is what he's talking about. And this is a smaller example, but at the same time, it's a big example, because if we continue our lives in those type of habits, we will miss the mark every time. And this is why then we look at, well, why are bad things happening to me all the time? It's because you didn't plan properly. It's because you didn't think 10 times more than what you need to. You didn't put in 10 times more effort than you needed to. See, had I just slowed down and thought about what I was doing versus just rush, I would have known that I had locked the door to keep myself in the room protected, so that when I went out, I needed to unlock it so when the door closed, I could get back in. See, we set ourselves up for failure. And these are then the moments that we want to go back and be like, well, the devil is busy. No, the devil wasn't busy. We did that on our own. Like there was no outside forces that were against me. That was me, myself, and my lack of thinking, my lack of preparedness, my lack of effort to follow through on my goal. And that's how we are so many times, that we lack the proper thinking, the proper effort, the proper preparedness to be able to achieve our goals. And so with that being said, I just wanted to, again, share that with you all as just the small learning, because the small things that we do on a consistent basis ends up being those big things. And I can guarantee you, even as we've talked about the law of attraction, like the things that happen in our life is not because of just wild things that have occurred. Like, oh my God, like these bad things just happen. No, things that are happening in our lives are because of things that we have done. So think about your actions. Like if you're always coming to a point where you're like, bad things always happen to me. If it's not one thing, it's another. I'm always this, I'm always that, right? I'm always late. I'm always sick. I've always been fat. I've always been unhealthy. I've always been like, the more that we feel like we have always been these things, then this is when we really need to step back and look at what have our habits been, what have our characteristics been, because I guarantee you, you are going to be able to identify a pattern of behavior that's causing you to be this way, right? And so again, even though it seems small, me locking all of my belongings in the office where I can't get to it, if I continue to function in that manner, then that means I am going to waste a whole lot of time that could have been utilized in applying it to my goals. But because I'm not putting in 10 times thought, I'm not putting in 10 times more effort, I'm not being intentional, I'm just kind of going through life on automatic, living off of my subconscious mind and not really focusing in on my conscious thoughts. Because again, I knew that the door was going to lock if I walked out and did not turn the little knob. I knew it. Some of us know bad things are going to happen to us if we don't do certain things, yet we don't do it anyway because we get so busy in life and function off of our subconscious mind that it won't happen for us, and we end up attracting the negativity, and that attraction is coming from the behavior that we have created. Thanks, Henry. Okay, so all of that is my intro and digression of chapter 12. Okay, so obsession, let's get back to it. we have to be obsessed. Like consciously obsessed, not subconsciously obsessed, because I've already told you what's going to happen if you're subconsciously obsessed, right? You're going to make mistakes. You're not going to be prepared. You're going to have all of your stuff locked in the room, and I'm looking through a glass window like, I found it, I have to, right? Like I'm singing songs and I'm sad because I'm like, I'm leaving all of my stuff, my coat, and it's cold. Like it was just crazy, right? Oh, and then on top of that, let me tell y'all, I'm walking. I'll get to my first destination. Let me even finish that story. Then we're going to jump back into chapter 12. But I get to the first house. Hey, David, what's going on? They don't answer the door. I'm like out there banging on the door for like 5-10 minutes. You know what? Now that I think about it, I was like, man, I had lunch with my friend today. And I was like, my hand hurt. She was like, well, what you been doing? And I was like, I don't know. But now that I just did that, even my knuckles now hurt from knocking on doors for 5 and 10 minutes at a time at midnight in the freezing cold. No one opens the door. So I'm like, okay. They're not going to open the door. What else can I do? So I'm like, my brother doesn't live too far from here. So let me just walk down to where my brother lives, right? So again, I get there, I'm banging on the door, which now explains my knuckles. So I can tell my friend that now, because she was like, well, that's strange. So they don't answer the door, right? So, and then even in life, let's think about, hey, Levon, thinking about our goals, right? As we're going through, the obstacles come, the challenges are going to come, then we expect people to support us, right? So I was expecting people to open those doors for me, and they didn't. They let me stand out there in the cold, banging on the door. Not they let me, but they probably were asleep. Or the fact that I had on a black trench coat and a white hoodie, and I'm at your house banging on your door at 12 o'clock at night. Chances are you're not going to open the door. You're like, whoever this is needs to go away. You didn't hear it because you're a hard sleeper, right? All of these things, all of these reasons where I just thought it was going to be easy. Like I'm going to go to the door, I'm going to ring the doorbell, I'm going to knock on the door, I'm going to get the support that I need. We think things are going to be so easy in life, just like that. But guess what? It doesn't always happen that way. So then you have to move on to the next person. And then you get to the next person and they tell you no too. So again, I'm standing at my brother's door, I'm banging. I'm like, it's Camille, let me in. Like, please. Yeah, stranger. Exactly. And then I had on like these boots that had polka dot ribbon on them. So depending on how you saw me, you either thought I was like a runaway child, a killer in a trench coat, or the Klan with the white hoodie on. You get what I'm saying? Like, you don't know who this person is at the door, just banging at the door. So, right, they're nervous. They don't, but I'm expecting, from my point of view, is, hey, it's me. Open the door. You should support me in my goal to get home. But not everybody is going to support you. You're not even going to get everybody's attention that you need in order to get the support that you want. Because see, then we back out so easily, right? Okay, so finally, clown at the, right, exactly. You're thinking all types of stuff. Hey, what's going on, Brian? So some of them didn't hear, or they were just like the neighborhood kids playing a game. And then your mind starts playing tricks on you, right? So I'm walking down the street. Now I'm in a suburban area. And so as I'm walking down the street, of course, there's no like real lights around except for if the homes have their lights on. So there's this thing moving in the middle of the street, and I'm like, oh man, this animal is about to get me, because we got a lot of animals out here. We got the raccoons, the possums, the deers, the dogs, the cats, the whatever type of animal you want, it's out here, right? So I'm like, man, this thing is about to come for me. Guess what? It was a paper bag blowing in the wind, but I couldn't really see what was going on. So now I'm tripping. And how many times when we're trying to achieve our goals, right, that we then, our mind starts playing games on us, like, oh, somebody's after us, oh, it's not gonna work, like there's this opposition that we should stop. So like I almost turned back around, like, no, I'm not going any further, because there's this animal that's about to get me, right? No, it's just a paper bag. Trash cans started turning into looking like people. because it was trash day, so people are putting their trash out, and as you're like cold, so mind you too, like at this point I had put on so many layers. Hey, what's going on, Edward? I had put on so many layers to make sure that I wouldn't get cold. Like my body is hot, so I'm like sweating. By the time I got home, like I'm drenched in sweat, but at the same token, my body is cold because it was so cold outside. So your mind starts playing tricks on you. Your body's doing different things, but this is how it is in real life. Like we're going through and we start thinking different thoughts. I'm thinking like, okay, oh my gosh, I'm out here with a hoodie on. I'm out here in the suburban area. Like I'm about to be the next Trayvon Martin. Like somebody is about to come out here and thinking that I'm doing something horrible. Then my boot, something like, I don't know what happened, but something broke in my boot. So it was like rubbing up against the back of my leg. So now I have like this wound on the back of my leg. So this is what happens when we go through our goals, right? Or trying to achieve our goals. And this is what Grant is telling us to be prepared for. Like challenges are going to come, and you can either stand up to your challenges and meet them head on, or you're going to back up and be like, you know what? I'm not doing that again. So for me, the reason why I was even where I was is I was having choir rehearsal. So I'm in the church office, right? So some people who might then equate that experience to, I don't want these results, is like, I'm just not going to choir rehearsal anymore. I'm just not doing it. I just won't go because I have other things that I need to do, right? And then we start pulling away because now we associate bad things happening with certain things, and so we're not able to accomplish our goals. I hope you guys are getting what I'm saying through this example, right? So yeah, I need a vacation now. It was a traumatic night. My little traumatic 2 hours, right? Which felt like forever. This whole thing felt like forever. And it's not like I didn't know these streets, right? Like I know these streets, and there's, and that's how we get though. When we get to a point where challenges come and we're faced with things that are outside of our comfort zone, then even the things that seem to be or used to be comfortable are no longer comfortable. And then it's like, it just puts you in a different world. So like I said, like the trash cans were turning into people and little bags are turning into animals and nobody's answering the door and I'm feeling rejected. And then, only thing I could really do was laugh, because if for a split second, you can get to a point of being like, well, why didn't they open their door? They heard, right? And then want to get an attitude and then put the blame game on somebody else because I locked my stuff in the office. It wasn't their fault. I can't be mad at them that they're in bed at midnight and they got kids and they got to get up and go to work in the morning and they don't hear me. Like, I can't get upset with the fact that they didn't want to open the door for a woman and they couldn't even tell if I was a woman. Okay, for a person in a trench coat and a white hoodie at midnight, I can't get mad at that. And see, some of us, we get upset at things for things that we have done and there's no reason for us to be upset. Like, these are the things where it's like we needed to take 10 times more thought and 10 times more action. Edward, listen, I was laughing and praying because I was like, good Lord, if there is a family of deer out here, like, don't let them get scared of or get happy and come after me. Like, let them be scared of me because, deers are really scary animals anyway. Like, you can scare them by honking your horn. They'll go and go run away, right? But I'm like, oh God, families of deers and raccoons, and what if they're stray dogs? Like, just the thoughts that begin to come in your mind as you're going after your goals. Like, this is why you have to be obsessed and keep your mind focused on your goal, because you can be thrown off track so easily. So from there, I just end up having to continue to walking and get it. It just seemed like it was such a barren moment, like so empty, like nobody is here for me, right? You can't go to the store and call anybody because the stores that were around were closed, right, Bambi? So anyway, being obsessed and really thinking out what is it that you want to do and what is it that you want to achieve, because you can't get caught up in functioning in a unconscious state of mind and just being on automatic, and you don't allow yourself to achieve what you really want. Like, we've got to start functioning in our conscious mind, being obsessed with what our goal is, so that we don't make silly mistakes that causes us to waste valuable time and valuable moments that could be used towards getting to where we need to be. Okay? Yes, Bambi, they probably was. Who is the deer? Right, like, who is in our territory? Like, don't nobody be out here this late at night. Right, so I was able to get in contact with my family. I had to walk to another house and was able to find rescue at the end of all of that. So I had to walk even further. And then we had the keys. Then there was another set of keys to go this morning and open the door and get all of my belongings, right? So that means, in fact, it's funny because before I left the church last night, I made a post, right? And people were responding to my post like, hey, yeah, we want information, like, let's talk. And so I have people who are now like interested in finding out how to make an extra paycheck, and I can't even respond to them because my stuff was locked up. So do you see what I'm saying? Like, you get so distracted. Hey, now, you get so distracted in functioning in your unconscious mind that you actually begin to lose out. See, I had people then who were waiting for me to respond, and then it was just kind of like I disappeared. And that had I been thinking, had I put 10 times more effort, 10 times more thought, right, into what I was doing, and really have my mind focused on my goals, then that wouldn't have happened. Okay? So again, hopefully showing you all a real life example about when we are not focused and conscious about our actions and intentional about our actions, and we make that a habit versus being intentional versus utilizing the 10X rule in our lives, how your life can take a quick tumbling fall, and then you're always like, bad things always happen to me. This always happens to me. This type of stuff always happens. And it's not that it always happens just because. It happens because we aren't thinking, because we aren't putting in the effort, because we haven't set 10X goals, right? All right. Am I talking about? No, I'm talking about what happened to me last night. All right. So be fanatical. Let the world know that you are not going away. 100% committed. So think about what your goals are. Be 100% committed and just have utter conviction that when you do accomplish your goals, when you are like, I'm here to win, I dominate this space, that's when the world's going to get your attention. That's when the world's going to say, okay, we're ready to support you. But until then, you're going to be locked out like me, wandering from house to house, trying to get help, and you can't get it because you're not dominating your space. I was not dominating my space. Nobody knew what I was doing, where I was, how they could help me, how they could support me, because I was out here wandering the streets trying to figure out a way how I was going to get back into the church, back into the office to get my stuff. Okay? So we have to dominate our space, whatever the goal is, whatever we're trying to do, dominate it. Right. We aren't planning 10 times ahead. Exactly, Wilbert. That's why he's saying that the mediocre people, we can't face any challenges that come our way, and we're ready to just be like, I quit. I give up. It's not going to work. Somebody could have easily been like, I will never do A, B, and C again because of the experience that I went through. Just because, like, they would just have a bad memory. Like, how many times have we stopped something because we're like, no, that reminds me of this, so I'll never do this again. Like, I was talking to somebody while I was in Puerto Rico, right? And they were like, well, I will never eat, I forgot what it was, but let's just say it was a sandwich, right? They're like, I'm never going to eat this sandwich again or this type of meat anymore because of what happened to me as a child. Now, mind you, this person is like in their late 60s and they're still holding on to this situation that happened to them and was fact that they would break out really bad. So, but at this point, it's like you're in your 60s, but he's still holding on what was happening to him when he was like preteen. And so now because of that, he's like, there's just certain things. And it's not that he's ever tried it to know, like, was it just a teen thing or, was it even that food item? Like, he never went into all that because I was asking him these questions. So he doesn't even know if that item caused him to break out. He doesn't really know. He just decided that it happened that one time and I'm never going to do it again. For me, my grandmother, she used to cook cheese and eggs, bomb cheese and eggs. Oh my gosh, they were so good. And I would eat them every time we went to North Carolina. Like, even part of her legacy was these cheese and eggs. When she died, back in November at her funeral, and just sitting around and we're reminiscing, like, everybody is talking about these cheese and eggs that my grandmother would make. One time I got sick. And I vomited in the car. And ever since then, I like cut back on cheese and eggs. Like, it was never, I was like, because if I eat them, I'm gonna get sick. But it wasn't even that. Come to find out, I just didn't know at that age that I get car sick. So that I needed to eat either before a certain time, or I can't read. Like, I can't read in the car because it makes me get car sick. So I just have to, I like to drive versus sitting in the back seat or anything like that, because I know how to get car sick. So then, though, I blamed it on the cheese and eggs, and I missed out on so many opportunities of eating my grandmother's cheese and eggs because I allowed this one event to stop me because I didn't like that result. And that's how we are in life. Like, bad things happen, and then we're like, okay, well, we'll never do it again. But we don't even understand why it happened. But it's really happening because things that we have done in our lives, okay? All right, let me see. There are red herrings. You're from North Carolina, what part? My grandparents live in North Carolina, and so they are, let's see, the biggest city would be Raleigh, but they live in a little town called Warrenton. Okay, so obsession. Like fire, build it so big that people feel compelled to sit around it in admiration. Like, whatever your goals are, whatever it is that you want to achieve, build it so big, make so much noise about it that people have to stop and look at you. See, I didn't do enough. In my example of walking home last night in the middle of the night, I didn't do well enough of letting the world know that I was in need and I was in trouble, right? Because if I did, neighbors would have like been out there and saying something. In fact, one or two did, but it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough because they came out afterwards, like, and I heard voices talking. Okay. So, and nobody woke up. These households had like 5 and 6 people in them. And out of 5 and 6 people in these different households, no one woke up. I'm banging on the door. Like, you can hear it echoing through the land, through the earth, and nobody hears it. When we have these goals, when there's things that we want to achieve, we need to make so much noise that it causes somebody to stop and look at you. If you are dominating, then if you are obsessed, then this is what's going to happen. I was telling you all the other day about a woman in my business who got obsessed about her goals. And so it was so obsessive that everybody knew what she was out doing, what she was out to accomplish. She completely changed and branded one of the products, was calling one of our products, which, as I told you all, the tea, people started calling it something completely different than what the name is, because this woman was so obsessive about her goals that it changed the mindset of people and caused people to listen and pay attention to what she is doing. Are you obsessed about your goals and getting it done? Don't be like me, just knocking on the door tomorrow. It's Camille, please open the door, like being at it in a desperation. No, you need to come in there and command your space. You need to dominate your space. You need to be obsessive about it. Make sure that you are like the fire that everybody wants to come and watch, right? It's something about it that people like to come and watch the fires. You have to be the one that people are wanting to come out and see. What is this person doing? Because I've got to witness such greatness in the making. And then it's your job to continue to fuel the fire. It's your job to continue to put the wood in the fire so that the fire does not burn out and turn to ashes. So don't back up like I was doing. Don't get scared. Don't allow your minds to play tricks on you. Don't allow those trash cans to turn into people and the bags to turn into animals. And don't allow it to say, you know what, maybe I should turn back. But then turn back to what? Because had I gone back, guess what? The church door was locked. So I can't even get in. Like, so if I turn around, if I run back to the church, to my comfort place, I can't even get into the comfort place. Like, so we run back to our comfort zones, and then we still don't find any comfort there, and we spend our time being miserable. And I would have been sitting there looking like, well, there's my car, but I can't get in it. Why? Because my keys are locked in here. So I'm back at my place of comfort, but I can't even enjoy it. Some of you all are in your place of comfort, but you can't even enjoy your place of comfort because you are not operating at the level in which you need to operate at. Hey, what's going on, Tiana? As long as you made it, girl. All right. So where are we? Smoke sick, man. Back to those smoke signals, right, Wilbert? It really inspired talk tonight. Thank you, Bradford. Absolutely, Edward. Okay, so create a 10 times reality. We've talked about 10 times thought, 10 times action, 10 times goal, and now we're talking about on tonight 10 times reality. So he says, follow up with every action with an obsession to see it through to success. Follow up with every action with an obsession to see it through to success. So if let's just say that my goal, in addition to sleep last night, was to follow up with those people who said, hey, I'm interested in earning an extra paycheck. How do you do that? If I was being obsessed about it versus being like, I'll just get to it when I get home because I'm tired, then I would have thought through in my conscious mind and not been on autopilot in my subconscious mind, right? To say, Camille, unlock the door so that you can get back in and get your keys, your phone, your computer, and your coat, and that you can get into your car and go home, right? We aren't doing that. So we have to follow up with every action with an obsession to see it through to success. Had I been obsessed with the goals versus saying, I'm tired, I just need to get home, I'll respond to people when I get home, then it would have been a different thought process because I would have thought about things so much differently. This is how you apply the 10X rule into your everyday life. Critical thinkers see reality, yes, good and bad. And then what we do is we're following up, right? So that's that point. So you take action constantly, but is it the right action? So, and for those of you, you might have to catch the replay because I'm giving I've been talking tonight with this chapter with an experience that I had last night. Okay. So we're constantly in motion. We're constantly in action, right? Just like last night, when I locked all of my stuff in the office, I was still in motion. I was still in action, but it was not the right action. It was not the right motion. Okay? I was doing all of these things, but it was not getting me any closer to my goal. In fact, it was getting me further away from my goal. So you all have to think about the actions that you are taking right now. Is it, because everyone is taking action, right? Is it getting you closer to your goal or is it getting you further away from your goal? Are you unconsciously just going through life, doing things that you are just like, this is just what I do, but you're not getting anywhere? If you are not where you want to be or getting closer to where you want to be, you have to stop and check your actions and say, okay, well, what is it that I'm doing that's causing me to get the results that I'm getting? And what is it that I need to be doing to cause me to get the results that I desire? So most are doing nothing because we've talked about the degrees of action. You do nothing, you retreat, you act at normal levels. Most are doing nothing or have already given up, and others retreat in attempt to avoid failure and negative experiences. Huge levels are operating at normal levels to get by and to fit in. Like we're just trying to do certain things just to say that we have done them and for other people to accept us. And where has that gotten us? Not very far. In fact, most of us are unhappy. We're not pleased with where we are. We've been at average thinking. We've been retreating. We have been doing nothing. We have been focusing our time on things that aren't allowing us to achieve success in our goals. And remember, when I'm talking success, especially if this is your first time joining in with me, success is based on what your purpose is in life. Okay. And it's going to vary for different people. But now, whatever your goal is, multiply that by 10. Okay. So if I say success for me is $100,000, maybe your success is $1 million. And that's perfectly fine as long as it's multiplied by 10. Okay, that's your multiplied number, and that wasn't your original number. Because we've talked about how when we move our targets down and when we have low level of thinking, then our results are low level, and then our success is low level, and then we spend our time wondering why life is not happening the way that we want it to happen. Okay, they gave up. You know what I'm talking about. Yes, and we can give up on our goals, and I think that's what you mean. So correct me if I'm wrong. So now, most people make only enough effort for it to feel like work, whereas the most successful follow up every action with an obsession to see it through to a reward. That's the difference between us and the person of success. See, had I followed through last night with making sure that the door unlocked, when I came back to the office, and the door was unlocked, and then I could get to my phone and I could respond to the people who I needed to respond to, then I would have felt like it was a reward. However, I was only going through the motions of, let me hurry up and get out of here. Let me pack my stuff up real quick. Let me just do what I need to do to get out of here because I'm tired and I'm ready to go home. Versus looking at my goals with an obsession to get accomplished and then get a reward from that. Okay. And so in fact, there was a person who was saying, hey, you know what? After I was able to talk to them today, hey, I'm ready to partner with you. So now, instead of it being later on, it could have been on last night or today, but now it is being pushed back. Now, the good thing is it's still going to happen. The bad thing is it's now delayed. Do you all understand? So because of the things that we do, we can cause a delay in our blessings because of our own actions. Nothing that has to do with anybody else. I can't blame anybody else or anything else for walking out that office and not unlocking the door. That was my fault. I can't blame anybody else that all of my belongings, anything that I needed, even if there was a payphone, because you know there aren't any payphones, but even if there was, I didn't even have a quarter that I could put it in the machine in the telephone to make a phone call to get the help that I needed. Do you understand what I'm saying, y'all? Like, we have to think, we have to plan, we have to be prepared so that when challenges come, we don't give up. We have to do all of that so then just when we're initially trying to achieve something, we can achieve the goal that we want, but we've got to be obsessed with that thing to think about it it's okay if you laugh at me, Tiana. We've all had our good laughs on tonight. But we have all had to be to a point where we need to be obsessed about something so that we can see it as a reward and not work, because everything up until that point, I was just like, I'm just ready to go home. And it felt like work. Like lifting my finger felt like work. Putting my phone down felt like work. Like everything felt like work. But I wasn't thinking about the reward. I wasn't thinking about how I was going to be able to help people at that point. Like in that moment, I was not thinking about that. But we have to be so intentional about our thoughts. And that's going to help us to drive to do what we need to achieve. Okay, obsession is that. Or that is, I'm reading backwards. Camille, invite some of your audience in on your live. Okay, maybe I will. But because I have 9%, which is why I keep looking at my phone to see what's going on up there. I've got 9%. So on tomorrow night, I will. Let's do that. Some of y'all can come on if you have something to add in. We can do that. That's cool, Nana. Good suggestion. Can't blame Millie Vanilli. Yeah, I can't blame Millie Vanilli either. Right. There is nobody there for me to blame. It was only me. It was my fault. I did it. I didn't think through it. I was in a rush. I was tired. I was allowing that to stop me from having this magnificent obsession with helping others, which is what I love to do. But we allow things to stop. We allow small things to stop us from reaching our goals. And then it causes us to have our blessings delayed. It causes us to think in a completely different way and throws us completely off track. And again, this is an everyday example of how we need to apply the 10X rule and how even the law of attraction begins to work in our lives. That I attracted that mishap in my life. I did that. I did it. Okay. Not the devil, not the enemy, not the people who didn't open the door for me, not the people who left me after rehearsal. I couldn't be like, well, y'all didn't remind me that I can't blame it and say anything was anybody else's fault. The blame game, the victim mindset, guys, has got to go. You have to stop blaming other people for the reason and why you are not reaching your goals. You cannot do it. You cannot blame other people as the reason on why you're not reaching your goals. You just can't. Last night, 5%, tonight, 9%, 10x planning. And guess what? I even have my charger right here. And guess what? It's not plugged in. So this is what I'm talking about. Y'all get on me. Y'all get on me. This is why we're reading this book together. Okay? So how many of us, we have the resources that we need, right? We have the resources that we need, and we're not even using the resources. Like, they're just sitting right there in front of us, not being used, not being put to work. And then we're like, okay, well, I can't be as, interactive as I would be with you all because I don't have the right percentage, but I'm not even plugged in. Man, y'all, this has been some lessons these past 2 days. This 10X rule is beating me. Like, y'all, crazy. Right, Mary? The middle class mindset. Having the middle class mindset, just the average thinking. So I'm just thinking average. Like, let's just come on and do this live. You know it's going to take an hour and a half, depending on what we're talking about, to do this live. And you're on 9%. Like, girl, what are you thinking? What are you thinking? I'm thinking, I don't know. I didn't have the extension cord handy. So I'm making excuses on why this extension cord wasn't handy. And I didn't plug it up. And then I didn't want to stop and go over and get it in the middle. Do y'all see how this works? Man, plug the charger in. What problem is this? I know. But I'm almost done. So we're gonna get through it. And tomorrow I'm gonna be completely prepared. Okay? Where are we at? But yeah, spank me. Tomorrow, when we get on here, ask me where am I being charged at? What is my phone charged at? Okay? So something has to absorb our thoughts. Every second, every day. Make your dreams, goals, and mission your mind's and actions' dominant concern. Something has to absorb our thoughts every second, every day. So why not make it our goals? Why not? That's what he's saying. Okay. So again, y'all, as we're going through this, I want to just remind people, like, as I'm saying, hold me accountable. We're discussing the book, The 10X Rule by Grant Cardone. These are his thoughts. I'm just expounding on them and learning and growing with you all. That's why I'm reading the book, because I need to learn. I need to grow. I need to implement. I need to go to a higher level in my life. Right. So I just want you all to know that when I come on here, don't expect that I'm living out everything like perfect. So you all talk to me, hold me accountable. Let's do some things so that we can all go to a higher level, right? It's perfect for those here that need to know and hear. Yes. Yes, all of this is, right, Mary? Okay. So we're thinking all the time. Even when we go to sleep, we're thinking. And what we're thinking while we're sleeping is dependent upon what we have put in our minds before we have gone to sleep. So, what is it that we are downloading? Are we watching senseless things on TV, right? Are we watching crazy things? Are we on our news feed, and everybody in our news feed on Facebook is negative, and that's what we're putting in our mind before we go to sleep? Like, what are your thoughts? Because those thoughts are still at work. Those thoughts are building upon your subconscious mind. So if you have watched a bunch of nonsense that's drama filled, even though you're like, this is just entertainment, well, guess what? That entertainment is growing in your subconscious mind. And that is how you will accept, that is the level of activity and behavior that you will begin to accept. Because in your subconscious mind, it is okay. It makes you laugh. It entertains you. It's cool. In your conscious mind, you know that cheating on your husband and wife aren't okay. And so you shouldn't do it, right? Or do you? Y'all better not be out there cheating on your husbands and your wives. Listen, if you're going to cheat, just leave it alone. And don't get married if you're already cheating. You can't lie and you can't keep it in your pants. Like, just stop, okay? Sidebar. Anyway, this is great for us all. Thanks for sharing. Absolutely, Bradford. Okay. But, just when we are putting things into our subconscious mind, just know that it doesn't just go away. So that entertainment that you just think is entertainment, no, it's so much more than that. Like, it's still ingrained in your mind. And it's those subconscious thoughts that come out that are on automatic, that we just, our ethics are even lowered, right? Our standards are lowered because of what is happening in our subconscious mind. Yeah, my sub bar, you know, it came. Entertain good, right? We got to entertain good behavior, good things. And I think, you know, some people are like, but Camille, you're so obsessive with that. And I'm like, you're right. I am, because my life is depending on it. And there's just certain things, like, I've just cut out. Like, there's certain programs on TV. Like, first of all, I don't really watch TV anymore. But when I do, I make sure that I stay away from certain things. Like, and I've told y'all before, like, I can barely do the news. Like, I have to be very intentional about what I watch if I turn on the news. Because everything needs to be setting my mind, my atmosphere for my actions, for my life. It needs to be in order. And I can't do that if I'm just filling my mind with junk. Because no matter what I'm doing, whether I'm awake or if I'm asleep, there is thoughts going through my mind 24/7, every second of the day, every moment. And so we have to make sure that what we are downloading into our minds is information that we can utilize and be beneficial in our everyday lives. So true. Small thoughts. Yes, I will keep the imperfect peace whose mind is stayed on thee. Think on these things. Absolutely. Think on the things that are lovely, pure, of good report, right? Things that are going to lift other people up. Like, this is what we need to keep our minds on. But we keep our minds on so much foolishness and drama, right? That's probably why when we have challenges in our lives, that we then all of a sudden begin to think on these other things that we've been thinking about, and it doesn't add to the solution, it adds to the problem, right? Because what we focus on, it will grow in our life. So we focus on drama, we're going to get drama, whether it's consciously or subconsciously. Okay, it's going to be there. In fact, mainly subconsciously, because that's why we walk around wondering, why is this happening? Why do bad things keep happening to me? When it rains, it pours. It's always one thing after another, right? How many times have we heard people say these things? It's not that life is all bad. Bad things do happen, yes. But I need you to check your behavior. I need you to check your thoughts, because your thoughts is where it begins. I told y'all there was a point in my life where it was just drama. It was drama all the time. But I welcomed the drama. I liked the drama. But then at times I would be like, but why I got all this drama coming to me? Why these girls don't like me, right? I was just drama. But secretly, like, I was welcoming the drama. I enjoyed the drama. I enjoyed having gold threatened that we was about to go fight, right? I didn't care if you were a male or a female. If it was time to fight and I needed to get rowdy, then I'm getting rowdy. Why? Because in my subconscious mind, like, I enjoyed that. But when I started acting my conscious mind, knowing that behavior is not okay, then I had to clean all of that up, switch out my subconscious thoughts for different thoughts so that I could have different results in my life, right? So I went from a place from, girl, this is what happened, let me tell you, and so, and yeah, girl, she don't like me, but I don't care, and her girls, and whoop, 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 blah, 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 yeah, I'm gonna show up, this is what I'm wearing, right? Like, we go through all of this craziness in our lives, and it's like, why? And it's because our subconscious thoughts, right? So we have to retrain our minds. If you want to be transformed, you have to renew your mind. It all starts in the mind. Jessica, did you see the ghetto snap? Hater. I don't even think Jessica is on here. Jessica, are you on here right now? If so, she has been very, very quiet. Okay, limited TV, smart. Yes, music today's, yeah, music. I'm telling you, all of that. I mean, there is just songs and music that I used to listen to back in the day that I know has had an impact on my life subconsciously. Because I know in my conscious mind, there's certain things, right? There are certain things that I probably would not have gotten into. But then it's like you go to do things and it's like those songs come back to you. Like even like Road Rage on the Highway. It was Ludacris' song, right? Like get out of my way, move, right? That song right there, like there would be times I know I was driving down the highway and I was like, move, get out the way, right? Because I'm thinking about the song Ludacris when I was driving and there were people who were driving too slow and I wanted to go faster than them. So I'm exemplifying road rage because I'm thinking about this man's song. Right? But even in those small things, because now I've caused road rage and now they're looking at me crazy. I'm looking at them crazy. And now my blood level is to a whole nother place because I'm like, why are you looking at me crazy? But they're looking at me crazy because I'm tailgating them or I'm trying to get around and I'm like, honking or whatever the case is. Right? And so we allow all of these things to impact our lives. And if we don't function in our conscious mind to know like, hey, it's not even worth all of that. Like, it's not worth having somebody upset with me and flick me off because why didn't I just switch lanes? Like, why do I have to force somebody, bully somebody out of my way when I could just switch lanes? Like, it's not that big, but I'm like, nah, move, get out the way, right? just foolishness. Really, it's just foolishness, right? Now, what are you saying when they're in your way? I'll be like, I'm coming up. It's like, no. Girl, I even have to check myself. When they're in my way now, I just gone ahead and move. Like, or if people come up behind me and they're like all on my tail, I just try and if I can get over, I can get over. Right? Jesus, take the wheel and take my mind and take my attitude. There was this one time though, I didn't let Jesus take anything. But they came up behind me. They were exemplifying the road rage. And like we were at a red light and I couldn't turn. I was in front of this car. We're in the turning lane. And they came up behind me and they're like, go, like rushing me to go. I can't go anywhere because the light is red. So I'm like, what are you doing? So I slow down. Like, ain't no move, get out the way. Like, I'm slowing down. You're not going nowhere. And there's like a line of cars on the other side. So we're turning. I'm on the inside turning lane. There's a line of cars on the other side. So I know you can't get over. So I'm like slow motion, right? Going through. But why? Why cause the drama? And I'm like, but I love Jesus, but I know that I'm intentionally making you upset. Like I'm intentionally doing this to bother this man now because he was getting on my nerves. Like, don't be coming behind me. Like, so my mind automatically went to, sir, no, we will not do that. That's not what we do. Like, this is what I'm thinking. And I'm literally shaking my head being like, sir, no, we don't do that. And so then he's like doing this again. So I'm like, no, like, I'm just being like extremely extra in the mirror now. Like, we not doing that, sir. You're not going anywhere faster because... And then he finally is able to get to the side of me. So he's like pulling up to me and he's trying to make eye contact. But at this point, I'm like, Camille, what are you doing? Like, calm yourself down, right? So I calm down and I ends up going straight and he ends up turning off. And that was that, right? But even in those moments, so if it was my goal to show Jesus, if I was obsessive in my goal to show Jesus in that moment, every moment of my life, that would not have gone down. Like, who knows? That person could have shown up at my church that next Sunday and been like, this lady who is leading the praise team, was she the one who was just getting at me on the road? And I would have had to been like, I'm so sorry, sir. Yes, that was me, right? Right. Not saying it's right, but, and that's how we know we need growth though, Wilbert. This is something that we need to work on because if we are going to be so obsessive about whatever our goals are, then these small things is what makes up the big things. It's the small habits that we create, the small actions that we do that end up making such a huge impact in our lives. I can see you now. Almost got, girl, listen, right? Who knows what that man would have pulled out? He probably had a Confederate sign in in his back window too. Not there, right? Thank God for and forgiveness and mercy and multiple chances, because honey, well, sometimes we need those extra chances to get it right. This is why we have to be obsessive and keep our goals on our mind, whether it's a spiritual goal, mental goal, physical goal, right? Whatever our goal is, emotional goal, something with our family. This is why we've got to be intentional, why we have to be obsessive, because it's so easy for us to get off track. And when we aren't keeping our goals in mind, then boom, before you know it, you're in a position where you're like, oh man, I done screwed up. What am I going to do? I have screwed up. Just like as I was looking at my stuff through that glass last night, I was like, I have screwed up, right? As I was looking at the rear view mirror of this man trying to come up across for me, and now he's trying to have this war of me, I'm like, man, I done screwed up. Like, these moments should not have happened. If I was operating at a 10x reality, right? Because I had 10x goals with a 10x obsession, then that stuff wouldn't happen. And so this is what he's trying to get us to a point to where maybe I needed to do more personal development that day so I could be, or read a few more scriptures that day so that I could be calmer in my spirit and not be going from because I was chilling at first. You know, I'm in the car, I'm chilling. I'm at 0 listening to I don't know if I was listening to music or not. I could have been, but if I was listening to music, I'm listening to some Jesus music. And then he came and he just took me somewhere. And so that's even worse, right? Where we could even be in our zone, but we're only going through the motions and we're not really living out what we're supposed to be living out. So just going through motions is only surface. It doesn't help us with the root problem. It doesn't help us in, you know what I mean? Like in the root issues, because we're just going through, like some of us, we have spiritual goals, but we're only going to church, but we're not really listening to what the preacher says. Like we're more so on Facebook. So we're not even getting the message. Like you're just going through the motions, but you're not actually growing. You're not actually achieving your spiritual goal, right? Or maybe you're getting on these lives, but you're not actually paying attention to what I'm saying. Like we're not going back and implementing them in our lives. So tomorrow night, guys, I'm going to not just bring my charger down here and then tell you how my phone is dying. I'm actually going to make sure that my phone is charged up, or I'm going to put my charger, plug it in, right? Like this is the preparedness. This is the 10x reality of things, right? Okay. So, being obsessed has a negative connotation, but name one person who has achieved success without being obsessed on some level. Whether it's an artist, whether it's a musician, whether it's an inventor, whether it's a philanthropist, a change agent, a businessman. Greatness is the result of their fixation. Greatness is the result of their fixation. Like there is not one person who has achieved a great level of success where they have not been absolutely focused. I'll tell you guys again, the woman who I was talking about in my business who came in and was just completely obsessed with her goal, that she in 7 months went from being broke to being a millionaire. Like she approached the goal with such a obsession that she was able, I'm sure, to even supersede what it is that she desired. You can bet I will check. Oh, thank you, Wilbert, for holding me accountable. Stay focused and alert. Be determined. Yes, maintain your space. We have to dominate. We have to dominate our space, right? We have to be the force to be reckoned with. And you can't be the force to be reckoned with, and you can't dominate your space if you get thrown off so easily when people and things come into your life that aren't on the same page as you. Like you have to learn how to manage the challenges that come in our lives, right? Because now that goes back, Mary, to the middle class mindset. The middle class is the dangerous class because people don't know how to manage the challenges that come their way when they happen. And we can't manage our challenges on something real basic. Like I couldn't manage my challenge that day with that man coming up and telling me to move at a red light. And then we didn't even follow each other for a mile. Like it was a turn signal. And then we went down the street a little bit and I'm going straight and he's turning off. I could have dealt with that for 45 seconds, right? But instead, I'm like getting with him like, psh, not today, sir. No, that's not how we will behave. Like, who am I? Like, I'm on some high horse. Right? I could have just been like, you know what? He's obviously going through something. He did not prepare. God bless his life. Help him to prepare. Help to clear his mind. Help him to think with wisdom as he's driving on these roads. Like, I should have gone into prayer for him as I'm really thinking about what my life is about and what it is that I want other people to see in me. But because we can become so distracted when challenges come our way, right, we get thrown off task, and then we wonder why we're not going anywhere and why we haven't achieved our desired results. I'm obsessed with total life changes, right? So we set your goals last night. So I expect that being obsessed with your goals and being able, don't just be obsessed with total life changes, but be obsessed with using total life changes as your vehicle to make your dreams and your desires come true. Make it the vehicle that allows you to be prepared so that when challenges come your way, boom, you've got the answer. You don't have to go run around in a chaotic way trying to figure out how you're going to make this life work or how you're going to be able to do certain things. No, you've already got it covered, right? I'll tell you, one of the greatest things is when people can call you and you can be a help to them, and you don't have to worry about whether or not they can pay you back or if you're going to get something in return. To just be able to give freely and not feel the constraint of, okay, well, if I give to you, then something is going to be taken from me, and feel like there is going to be an emptiness or a void. So, and this could be financially, this could be emotionally, this could be your time, whatever it is, right? Just one of the most beautiful things. And that's what I love about Total Life Changes, is that it can allow you financial freedom. It can allow you the time freedom, but you got to work it. And if you're going to be obsessed with it, then those are the types of results that you could get. You could have been a great school teacher. Thank you, Bryant. Okay, so I was actually going to go teach overseas, but I decided not to. All right. Do what you love, and you'll never work another day in your life. And so we may have heard that quote, but have we really gotten to that point? Most successful people who really, really love what they do can say this, that do what you love and you'll never work another day in your life, because they feel like it is a reward, that when they go to work, they are getting a reward. We feel like it's work. So we're like, oh my God, it is another day of work. I'm here. I'm going to get this check. Let's go secure the bag, right? That's the only thing that you can say. But you're not in the direction of your purpose. Your goals aren't aligned with your purpose. You're upset. You're angry. You don't like your coworkers. You don't like your boss, and you're just ready to go home, and you can't wait till the weekend comes or your day's off, right? That's not the life that we should desire. And the 10X rule is trying to help us to move beyond that middle class mentality that's keeping us trapped and just going in circles every day, but not truly loving the life that you live. So he says, when you can get to a point where you're saying, do what you love and you'll never work another day in your life, that is obsession at its best. That's me. Love what I do. Awesome. Right? Love that, Wilbert. Okay. So now become obsessed. Become obsessed about the things you want. Otherwise, you are going to spend a lifetime of being obsessed. And Wilbert, how did you get to the point of loving what you do? How did you know that that's what you were supposed to be doing? Let us know. Drop that in the comments. What if the world saw a person's unwavering passion, undying obsession, and a bonfire-like desire to see through their goals as gifts rather than defects and diseases, right? Because when we see people who are obsessed, we're like, oh my God, like they are so obsessed. They're crazy. They work too much. They do this. They do that, right? People who are obsessed get called all types of names, all up until the point where they become successful. And then they're no longer labeled as crazy, but geniuses, exceptions to the rule. They're extraordinary. Oh my gosh, we can't believe. Now they're our inspiration. Now they're our motivation. The problem is most of us aren't willing to do what it takes in order to get to what we want. But the person who is now extraordinary, that was once crazy, they did. Do you have what it takes, or are you willing? You have what it takes. So are you willing to do what it takes in order to get what it is that you want? The only thing standing in our way of greatness is getting us up and going after it obsessively, persistently, and as though our life depended on it. That is the only thing that is stopping us from achieving greatness. Are you willing to get up, go after it persistently and as our life depended on it? Are we ready to obsessively go after our goals? So he says, what would human beings have made it into space if a team of people hadn't been obsessed with making it happen? Can a country become great without its leaders being obsessed with greatness? Would any remarkable leader water down his or her dreams and encourage the team to adopt a take it or leave it attitude? Of course not. Do you want your team drugged, lethargic, and robotic, or obsessed with a positive outcome in victory? Never cut anything, never dilute greatness, never pull back on your horsepower, and never put a limit on your ambition, drive, and passion. Demand obsession of yourself and all of those around you. Never make it wrong to be obsessed. Instead, make it your goal. Obsession is what you will need to set 10x goals and to follow them up with 10x actions. Remember as well that making the goal too small won't allow you to gather the right fuel or take the right amount of action to break through the resistance, competition, and changing conditions. Nothing great will ever happen without someone becoming obsessed with the concept and then staying focused while approaching each task, challenge, and moment as vital, necessary, and a must. The ability to be obsessed is not a disease. It is a gift. So guys, don't be like me. Don't lock your keys and your purse and your phone and your computer in the room. Be obsessed with being intentional about going after your 10x goals. All right, guys, that is my time tonight. Make sure you share this video if it helped you. And by doing that, you're going to get into the drawing to win cash, gift cards, and health products. If you didn't drop a 1, letting me know you were on live with me, drop a 1. If you're catching this on replay, drop a 2. My name is Camille Aiko, and I hope that you are living the life that you love spiritually, mentally, physically, and financially. Good night, everybody.